Hey guys, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by a limited time offer from photography.com.
Yeah, Carlin turns on the TV, Christian flips off the screen, cause there's no good children's shows that he's seen. We've got dogs with blogs, superheroes in the ER. All dads are dumb and kids have better PR. Carlin just smile, Christian sits with the scowl. He complains to his son, all the kids should suck now. They sit and discuss the show's plus and minuses while you listen or watch on YouTube to the arguments. Who is right? Is it the son or the dad? Either way you get to laugh knowing Christian is mad. So pull up a chair, get the corner poppin'. Here's a new episode of What Are We Watching?
Now, photography.com is the place to take your photographs and transform them into works of art. They can print your photos on canvas, framed canvas, metal, acrylic. They have photo clocks, they have photo chalkboards. They have more options available. And right now, I have a limited time offer for you. If you go to photography.com/PlaidDad15, you can buy one and get 3 free. That is a crazy offer. Buy one, get 3 free. Oh, and guess what? They're gonna throw in free shipping as well. This is a deal you can only get through our podcast. So go to photography.com/PlaidDad15. Hey, send us a pic of the photograph you choose, and maybe send us a pic of the canvas or acrylic or metal or clock or chalkboard that you get your photo printed on. We would love to see it. This is a great deal. We are so happy to offer this to our listeners and our website users. Photography.com/PlaidDad15. Buy one, get 3 free plus free shipping. Check them out. I know you'll be excited. Now let's get on to the episode. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for the latest episode of the What Are We Watching podcast, the podcast where I watch horrible television shows.
They're not horrible.
They're horrible.
They're horrible.
And today it's more hot garbage, but I watch horrible TV shows with my son Carlin because, hey, even kids shows shouldn't suck. Wow, maybe I could get that out of my mouth there. Sure. But I watch these shows sometimes so you don't have to, but we like it when you watch the show and then watch the podcast and leave your comments below. What did we miss? What did I get right? What did he get wrong? Because everything. And then when you leave a comment or share our podcast, we like to send out prizes like Amazon gift cards, iTunes gift cards, and right now we have some Nintendo DS gift cards for our younger listeners. So get your kids, watch the show, then watch the podcast, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So today we are joined by our friend Duane Wayne.
What's up, y'all?
And he is here. He has watched the show. I have made him watch
It was awful.
Season 1,
He made it.
Episode 6
It wasn't.
of Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Doc. Or Dawn.
Dawn.
I think it was
I know,
Dawn.
but I always want to say Doc. Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, Doc.
Everything should end with Doc.
It's really, really horrible, this show. I can't say
It's
the word
not.
horrible enough.
It's not horrible.
Well, here's what's bad about it. Everything. I'm just going to say that.
Nothing.
That was the worst part about the show.
Except for the fact that he had a remote that was like to the whole house.
No, it was to the
That
universe.
was really
It was a universal remote.
Okay, so.
What? He's going to be controlling other people's houses?
All right, wait a minute. Let's get into it.
Don't give it away.
Let's tell everybody what this show was about. Season 1, Episode 6 of Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn. Just give Carlin a quick rundown of what happened in the show.
So the kids want to watch TV like really bad, which is really weird. And they're hiding, but they're fighting over the remote. And their dad doesn't want any fighting, because their anniversary is, tomorrow for that episode. So the kids got, punished and got their TV privileges revoked.
All right, that's pretty much the episode, is kids want to watch TV and dad yells at them. Now, when I pick the shows that we're going to watch, I try to find one that's going to be at least interesting or ties into some of the stuff we talk about. Sometimes I try not to watch these shows ever, but I was between a couple of shows for me, and I picked this one specifically because it was a dad-centric episode. And it's really crazy to me that you just said the kids wanted to watch the TV really, really badly, and that was weird. Because that is all you ever want to do.
No,
If the TV is on, you are there.
Yep. I understand.
not
that.
all the time.
You have watched home improvement shows. You have watched infomercials. I have caught you watching the Crockpot infomercial when
QVC.
nobody's there, as long as the TV's on.
I don't even remember that.
Exactly, because it's garbage that you just stare at. It is crazy to me that you think that it was crazy how
There's
much
a lot
you
of
wanna
other
watch
stuff
TV.
I do in my room too.
Oh, yeah, there's stuff you do in your room, but if I turn the TV on, you automatically appear like a vampire.
It's like a magnet.
So I picked this show because of the dad. Now, we always go through 3 checks on our What Are We Watching podcast checkboard, and we are going to do that now. The first one is, was there a laugh track?
Yes.
Yes, there was a laugh track. So obvious. So obvious. If you want to know if it's obvious that there's a laugh track, wait for a horrible joke and then listen to all the laughs. Okay, were the kids alone with really no parents around or adults?
Yes.
Yes and no. I mean, the parents were in their room holed up for their anniversary, which I will get to in a minute. But I don't know if I want to say yes on that. There were parents around. There was a parental unit around. I'm going to give it to them that they weren't. I get that they were on their own for most of the episode.
Yes.
And I've quickly scanned through some other episodes, and that is definitely true of the show. But I think the kids are so young. Like, remember when we were talking to Chris Tallman for the Thundermans, he said that the younger kids could only work so many hours. That's why they're not always in the A story, the younger kids, they're in the B or C story. I think that this show does have a lot of parents in it because some of the kids are so young. But they might be right at that age, but it looked like it was a little more even than some of the shows we watched. Okay, now here's the big question, and Duane, you can chime in on this, please, but the third question that we always ask was the parent or dad a moron?
Yes, he was a big
Yes.
moron.
Okay, now here's the thing. At the beginning of the show, I'm with the dad. The kids
I
were
am.
fighting over the TV.
He did the proper thing, and he dropped the hammer on the law of the house with the remote issue. But then he just kind of went bananas and
He punished the kids and took away TV from them. So I'm kind of like, all right, parental unit. I would have maybe strangled one or two of those kids. But I've got 4 kids now. Luckily, they're not all the same age. Again, we need to get to this. But I think that, yes, he was a moron in half of the show, but he wasn't a totally unattentive dad completely,
Correct.
like some of the shows that we watched. So I'm going to say by comparison, this one's tough to say, by comparison to other shows of the genre, of the kids' TV show genre, I'm going to say he wasn't. That all the parents weren't
morons.
or the adults weren't morons. So it only is getting 1 check on the checklist, but I'm going to put an asterisk on it when it goes into the Hall of Fame.
Check
because
like a half a check.
that's a weird one. So 1 ding on the board. Okay. I will say the show starts off with the dad and his dog watching Beyonce. That was a little weird. He was talking about Beyonce's dog and put a ring on it jokes. So that was a little weird, but okay, fine. That was for the adults. I get that. Again, this is one of those shows that they put in jokes for the adults specifically.
I was a little curious as to if they were putting jokes in for the dogs that were watching the show.
Now that could
well.
very well be true.
Because beyond Shay, Bao Shay, or
Yeah.
with a leash on it, it was,
I think more dogs got that jokes than kids got that
I
joke.
think the ratings were higher for the dogs.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
for sure.
The dog with the blog guy was tuned in. Paw on the remote.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the dad was doing dog tricks with the dog. That's such a minor point on the show. I guess we can skip that.
Was he eating dog bones? Like, it looked like he was eating a dog bone.
I think it was frosted mini wheats.
Well, he was putting something on his nose and then going, wait for a boy, and then catching it to show the dog how to do the dog trick.
Did you notice he never gave the dog a treat?
Of course. He never gave the dog.
Poor
so
dog.
we are talking about the dog. And that's not how you teach a dog tricks. You do it with the dog.
Right.
A dog doesn't look at you and go, ah, crap, I've been getting it wrong the whole time. That's what you do.
If only I was a biped.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So that's pretty much the dad being a dummy. But I will say, again, asterisk, not a horrible dad. Oh, I kind of hate saying that. Makes me feel a little sick inside. Excuse me. So these kids, I want to know how much you know about the show, Carlin. So how old do you think these kids are?
Maybe about 10 or 11.
Okay. And how old is each kid?
I have no idea.
Okay. They're all supposed to be the same age because they are quintuplets.
Yeah. Quadruplets.
Quadruplets.
Quint is 5. Quad is 4. Just saying.
Oh, I swear Wikipedia said quint, but you're right. I watched the show. There's 4 of them.
There could be one that lives at grandma's house.
Yeah, maybe the dog is the 5th one. He was smarter than the kids. Okay, so these kids are all supposed to be the exact same age. They're twins, for a lack of a better word.
Times 2.
They look nothing like each other. Now, I've seen quadruplets that look completely different. These kids all look like they have a different dad. Every single one of them. I don't know how to even put into words how different that one kid stood out. The one with the dark hair, the dark skin, and he kind of looks like Carlin in our family pictures. I'm just saying, he stood out as different. Do the people that make these shows expect us not to notice this?
What? Who, Dicky?
I don't know the kids. If you expect me to remember which kid
Either
is which.
Dicky or Nicky.
I have no idea. It was, for lack of a better word, the tan one. But he looks totally different than those other kids. Have you ever seen quadruplets come out that different?
No.
I've never seen any quadruplets, so.
That's a very good point, Carlin. He got you on that one.
What? He's
never seen
quadruplets. Oh, okay.
So he doesn't know. He doesn't have a baseline to go against.
All right. I'm not trying to be racist about the show. I'm just saying.
I would venture to say that I don't know the backstory for the family, but I'm just going to guess maybe there's a backstory of some adoption in there.
No, they're supposed to be quadruplets.
I should have watched
I don't know why I
episode
said
1.
Quint's like an idiot, but I looked at Wikipedia, and at the beginning of the show, she's pushing them in the 4-way stroller.
Wow.
Like in that comic drawn kind of.
I gotcha.
Premiere Pro can do that trick to your stuff. Look, she's pushing the 4-way stroller.
So these 4 kids are all from the same set of parents.
Those parents.
That mom and dad
made those kids.
Made those 4 kids.
I guess Dawn seems reasonable.
Yeah, she looks like she could be one of the kids, but I don't know. When I'm watching a show and I'm trying to get through it, I get pulled out immediately at that point, and it just kind of, I'm not going to say it ruined the show for me, because you did that for yourself.
I did hear the Olsen twins were not available for the show, though. Exactly. They were too old for it.
To shoot doubles.
Right.
So, all right. So anyway, that's a sticking point for me. I'm sorry. I guess somebody's going to make a comment and call me a name, but it really confused me and pulled me out of the show at the very beginning. Okay, so the parents, here's where we get into jokes for adults and jokes for kids. You said earlier that the parents were having their anniversary.
Yes.
He was going to take away TV from them. The mom immediately came home and changed her decision, which as a dad, like we are,
cuts deep.
That cuts real deep.
Real deep.
All right. And that's another reason for the asterisk on the parents being an idiots thing. But I know that happens in real life. She took something from that man, and
happy wife, happy life, though.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what I'm going to go with it.
Happy dad gets a paycheck. No, in this show, he says that mom supports them. He says mom completely supports them. So I don't know if he's a home dad.
There's only one person who pays bills in the house. That's Mom. I thought it was going to be him at first.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some of the other shows. I think they own a sports store or something. I don't know. We're probably going to get stuck watching another one of these shows because the other episodes are so different since this one was totally encapsulated in the house. But Mom and Dad's anniversary, and then why does she veto his decision on no TV? Do you remember, Carlin?
Because I'm not sure, but I'm guessing it was because no. I have no idea.
It's
where did they retreat to?
To their bed
and
that Dad got her for her anniversary.
Okay. Now, this is a family-friendly podcast.
It is.
So I want to say this as nicely as I can. Mom and Dad were getting ready to make more quintuplets, or quadruplets. Sorry, quadruplets. So I don't know.
Could have been quintuplets this time.
Yeah, they were trying for 5 this time. Maybe they were trying for all blonde kids because that would make sense. I don't know. It was very obvious to the adults in the room. So that's what Mom wanted. Brown chicken, brown cow for dinner. And they were going into their room. Now the kids could not find the remote.
Yes, because Ricky was being a douchebag. No, Dicky.
He was being a douchebag.
Ricky.
I don't think they use that word in the show, but I will allow it. Okay, so...
Do you get to put the cool little bleep thing over his mouth when he does that one?
No, we actually allow that word.
Awesome.
That counts in this
That's
podcast.
fantastic.
We're family friendly. It's douchebag. Look, you got to let certain things through. So it keeps the bad stuff out.
That's true. That's true.
These kids are so smart, they're not, that they don't realize you can operate a television
Buttons.
without a remote control.
Buttons on the side.
Or the top.
Okay, now you know this, right?
Yes, I've
Now-
seen you press one.
And you know you're not allowed to, or
Yes.
I'll murder you. Now,
Maybe that's the standing rule in their house, too.
right. I don't think these kids would have cared. The standing rule was you couldn't fight over the remote,
And they did that anyways.
and it was the Hunger Games to get it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they would care about not touching the buttons on the remote or on the TV. And if you have a cable box, okay, you have to flip with the cable box. But every cable box I've ever seen has buttons on it.
Mm-hmm.
So these kids can watch TV. So, broken premise number 2, the kids need the remote. 1, they don't look like their parents. 2, you don't need the stinking remote! All right, I know this isn't my
I'll
Screaming
give you
Dad's
that
podcast.
one. Okay.
But you admit that is crazy.
Yes, I can't
But
think
did
of
you
anything
even
to
think of that
say.
during the show?
No, I did not.
So I guess...
Wait, I did a tiny bit, but then I forgot about it.
All right. So they're hitting their
side
You kept
target.
looking around for the remote? Is that because you kept looking around for the remote?
Well, I was wondering where it was.
All right. So Mom and Dad retire.
First, I suspected Mom and Dad had it, and they just wanted the kids to be quiet.
Ah, okay. Well, that was the opposite of what they wanted because they knew the TV would keep them quiet.
That's right.
But these kids can't not fight. So even with the remote, they're going to fight. Mom and Dad retired to the bedroom. Dad, as you said, presented Mom with a brand new bed that he got her for her anniversary.
Yes.
Which she was so happy about. So happy.
It was really weird.
It was really weird. Describe that to me, why it was really weird.
Because she kept laying on it like it was the best thing in the world, like it was heaven, and it was so magical.
As
and
it
happy.
shook her and
Yay!
massaged her.
Yes.
That was fake shaking, too.
Yeah, I'm just going to be silent for a minute and let the adults that actually watch this show just silently agree with me.
You mean just me?
Yeah, who else wanted to watch the show?
Who else is an adult that
The
watched
adult
this show?
that
Really?
well, look, adults are forced to watch these shows in their house when the kids have the remote.
I just give my kids the remote and go retreat to my bedroom.
Ah,
That's all I
well, solid parenting.
That's right.
So there was definitely Mom and Dad time in this show. That's for sure. Okay, now what did Mom get Dad for his anniversary present, Carlin?
A universal remote.
Okay,
to
and what did the
whole house.
universal remote control?
The TV and everything in the house.
Everything in the house within 1 second of programming. Oh, wait, it didn't even program it. You just told it you like stuff, and it started controlling
I
it.
think it happened when he hugged it.
Yeah.
He hugged it and it felt a connection with him and was connected to everything he was connected to.
Which is amazing that he was away from his wife long enough to hug that remote. But she was busy with the vibrating bed. Okay. So, Dad has the universal remote that instantly controls everything. I would say premise 3 here, ridiculous, but come on, that's a kid's show thing. Fine, I'll get that. The kids were downstairs fighting. What did they resort...
Wait a minute. That control everything statement came from a guy who's using a Kindle to control his camera.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Love it.
But it took me about an hour and a half to get it set up.
That's very true. That's true.
Okay, that's the problem I have
very
with
true.
it, is the magic of the remote.
You didn't just hug it and it turned on?
I'm willing to, yeah. I don't even hug my wife and turn it on. Okay, so I am willing to admit that universal remotes are awesome, but it's the magic of it that is my biggest issue. Okay, now these kids who are cutthroat, evil children, what do they resort to? Pretty much the number one rule in my house of the worst thing you can do. What do they always resort to when they're in trouble? And with each other.
They're always trying to get each other in trouble.
Yeah, but...
Like, if they get caught, they're going to try to get somebody else in trouble.
Lying. That was what I'm... Fighting, fine. But they're always lying.
Fighting is fine.
Everywhere. Fighting I can
Fighting's
get
cool.
behind.
Lying, not cool.
I can get behind the fighting, but there is constant lying to this house. Lying to each other, lying to their parents. I would strangle these kids. There would never be 4 of these kids. And I have 4 kids now. They would have never lived past 5 or 6 if this was the way they acted. Okay, yes, I'm kind of saying I would have murdered my kids, but these kids are worth it.
We've all said that at some point, Christian.
Some point. And some of us have started to. But anyway, these kids are probably the worst example of kids I've seen on these shows. Did you like these kids? Well, you can say.
I thought Nicky was supposed to be good, but he turned out to be really bad in the end.
Yeah, he was the
really
worst.
Lying. Yeah.
He was trying to mastermind everybody and get everybody screwed.
So I just like to point
because he was
out,
acting all good in the beginning.
He was my
he's
favorite
like, why
character
are
in the
you
whole
doing
show.
it?
He was your favorite character.
He was my favorite kid in the whole show.
Why?
I know there was just something about him. Maybe he deceived me as well.
Right?
Maybe he did a really good job. But I just thought everybody else was very snooty and snotty. And he was cool as the other side of the pillow the whole time. I liked him. And he's the odd one out.
He's the one I said doesn't match any
Maybe
of
that's
them.
what caught me, and I just built in sympathy
Nicky.
for him being the odd one out, maybe? I don't know.
Okay, I was assuming he was going to be the better kid too, because I think that he wasn't really one of her children. So I thought, okay, the other 3 kids are horrible from the womb.
Sure.
And he's secretly the milkman's baby. I don't know how she had them at the same time, but it happened. And she tricked the dad, and she's probably a liar too.
That's a different podcast.
But then you realize that he's the worst kid of the bunch.
Yep.
Yes.
So they actually made the kid you were rooting for end up being the worst kid.
I wonder if they wrote it that way.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'm sure if we watch some of these other shows, he's good and the other kid's the worst one of the bunch.
Probably.
So, and like I said, I scanned through another one of these episodes and we're going to have to watch it because it was that bad. Okay, so let's just wrap up the show. We talked about all the things wrong with it, Carlin. What do the kids do when they can't find the remote control that they're looking for?
They're going to sneak and get the universal remote from Mom and Dad's room.
Right. During their anniversary night. Totally inappropriate. So they do that. They steal the universal remote, and within 5 minutes, what happens?
They mess up the remote and break it.
Yeah, break
And
it.
then drop it in yogurt.
Yogurt,
And
orange
then
juice, break it.
It starts to work a little bit more, and then they start like slapping it, slamming their elbows on it, and it starts hurting their parents.
Oh, and it controls the AC unit in a way that no AC unit in the world has ever been controlled.
Right.
It makes it look like there's an airplane starting its propellers in their house. Again, I can get past the cheesy kid show stuff. I get that happens. But I will say this, for all the adults watching the podcast with their kids and going, yeah, they're right, this show sucks. Three's Company would laugh at the premise of this show. Three's Company writers back in the 80s would go, or 70s and 80s would go, yeah, we're not going to write that. That's too ridiculous for us.
Yeah.
And if kids are watching this and don't know what that show is, give it a watch because it was the king of ridiculous premises. Every show there was a misunderstanding. The show should have been called The Misunderstanding. And that's what most of these kid shows feel like they're modeled after, is Three's Company. Every one of these I watch, it's always, oh, there's a classic misunderstanding. Now let's spiral out of control after we lie about it for 15 minutes. It's 22 minutes of misunderstanding and 15 minutes of lying to their parents about it.
So it's pretty much a reality television.
Maybe in your house,
Maybe.
crazy person.
Maybe in my house.
Honestly, I thought Dicky was gonna get away with it. No, Ricky.
The
I
kids.
keep getting them mixed
There's
up.
4. That's why. Because there's 4 and we don't know which one
Maybe
they are.
because they're the worst names ever.
I know which one Dawn is.
Nice.
Yeah, she's
That's
the
it.
girl.
She's the girl.
And Clicky, the remote.
Clicky.
Because, hey, why not get away from that naming culture? Okay, what happens to the parents when when the remote goes out of control?
Their bed starts acting up because the kids are like breaking it basically and stuff. They keep messing with the remote, so their bed bent. But I was wondering if they were like using fake feet.
You were wondering. Oh, I was so going to ask you this.
Wow.
You were wondering if, when the bed bent, their feet were really able to touch their ears, both of them.
I didn't believe that
Oh.
You've never
For a
watched the
second,
Olympics.
though. For a second,
You've never
were
watched the
curious.
Olympics,
for a
have you?
second. Like when it started bending, I was like, I'm not sure.
But
Now,
they,
at the end,
but they moved their feet. That's the thing that confused me. He could move his feet. How did that happen? I don't understand how that happened.
okay, so I'm going to explain after the episode how props work to Duane.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Oh, maybe he had his hands under moving the feet.
what was that?
Said maybe he had his hands under moving the feet.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, since his hands were right there. They did do a good job at the end of the show when it inevitably happened again, when they were folding up the bed, or actually when they unfolded the bed, when they finally got them unfolded, they cut the scene
At the
so
right
that their
spot.
legs were actually there. And I thought, okay,
They did a good job of editing.
that's
that one.
tight editing. I appreciate that. That was pretty good. Props to the editing team right there. Okay, so to wrap up the show, what happens to the kids? What happens to the parents? Bring us home, Carlin.
Everybody gets, all of the kids get their TV privileges revoked.
For how long?
For a month. And then the dad steals TV and they're watching it in their bed, but then their bed flips up, so they don't really get to be happy.
Because
again.
who hits the remote to flip up their bed? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think it was like the dad.
It was the dog.
The dog
Oh.
stepped on the remote.
Oh.
Maybe payback.
Oh, yeah, because he was standing on the bed.
Yeah, maybe payback for
remember
not
that.
giving him that treat earlier. Okay, so that was us watching season 1, episode 6 of Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Doc. So
Clicky, don't forget Clicky.
yeah, Clicky, Dicky, a lot of those things going on in the show. Okay, so Carlin, as I always ask you, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how would you rate this show? Do 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 do.
A 7.
A what? Say it again louder for the audience to
7.
hear how ridiculous you are. A 7.
Hey. Come on.
Most people stop and laugh at accidents sometimes.
Oh, okay.
7.
Okay,
right.
I am going to rate this a -7 T,000. I'm going to rate it a -7.
Hey, you're lucky I gave it a 7.
What?
Said you're lucky I gave it a 7.
Were you going to go lower on your first number?
Were you going to go higher or lower?
No, higher.
Higher? You
But,
can rate it however
like the
you
fake
think.
legs and stuff, like
That took it
thought
away
some-
from you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going with -70,000. Duane, I'll give you a guest rating, 1 to 10. What you think about the show?
Just positive 1 to 10?
Yeah, sure. I'm only
2.
allowed to go negative.
Okay,
A 2.
2.
Now, have you ever watched the show with your kids?
Not intentionally.
Right, but
Just-
have they watched it?
Yes.
Okay,
Probably not intentionally, though.
it's just on.
Just on because they finished watching Dora the Explorer and it was the next thing on or something.
So how old are your kids?
15, 11, 9, and a pair of 2-year-olds.
Wow.
So I actually have, collectively I have quintuplets, but not the same age. So they
Alright.
could actually do this show probably.
Well, somebody has been doing the anniversary dance. All right. Thank you for watching the What Are We Watching podcast with Christian Lee and Carlin Jackson. And thanks to our guest for visiting us. Again, go to whatarewewatching.com and you can check out all of our episodes. And every other week in our mini episodes, we let you know what we're going to be watching the next week. That way you've got 7 days to watch the show. Then join in with us on the podcast. And like I said, leave a comment below the video on Facebook, YouTube, Libsyn. We're going to be on iTunes, hopefully starting in February now that we've got our 10th episode out. And we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Hey guys, we would really appreciate it if you subscribe. So why not click the button right here and click here for another episode of our podcast. And if you click here, a boulder will fall on me, but you're not going to do that because, oh no! This production is brought to you by the Plaid Dad Blog Podcast Network. For more information, visit plaiddadblog.com.